question.
Now, Britain's Prince Harry has opened the Field of Remembrance at Westminster Abbey in London ahead of Sunday's Armistice commemorations, marking 100 years since the end of the First World War.
The Duke of Sussex attended a ceremony in the churchyard garden where he laid a wooden cross in tribute to those who died in the conflict. He also greeted military veterans who had come to pay their respects. The service has been held on those grounds since 1928.
We're joined from Plymouth by Conservative MP Johnny Mercer, who was captain with the 29th Commando Regiment Royal Artillery, and he served in Afghanistan. Johnny Mercer, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for being with us. I want to come in a second, or Cathy will, as to how your life changed as a soldier. But the thing that's really struck me being here in Washington this week, I'll give you two anecdotes. So I went to Reagan Airport. I saw a group of veterans come off a plane and be applauded by everyone in the airport. And then I got onto the plane and the captain was moving people around and he said, I want some veterans to come and sit here at the front. And it seems to me they hold their veterans in high regard. And I don't feel we do that as much as we should in the UK.
I think that's a really fair point. I do think that there are fundamentally sort of different cultures at play. So whilst people like me would feel quite uncomfortable with that sort of thing, but I think there are deeper issues at play, and how this country looks after those who have served, I'm afraid, is not good enough. It hasn't been for some time. It's almost the exclusive factor that drove me to be a member of Parliament, and I think we've made strides, but we've got quite a long way to go.
But they have a Veterans Secretary here, they have a Veterans Committee within the Senate that have extraordinary power and a big budget. We could at least do that within the UK Parliament.
Well, when I first came in 2015, I sat down with the previous Prime Minister and talked about how we could sort of professionalise the sector, bring in a single point of contact, a sort of common needs assessment, try and sort of draw down some of the charities and actually wrap around the care around a veterans organisation, and indeed get somebody in government who's going to pull it all together. The single biggest factor that improves someone's life as a veteran or whatever they're doing is having a job, and that's not an MOD commitment. So I think we have always, we will always be playing catch up until we get some sort of centralised, either a small department or a commissioner. We're the only Five Eyes nation that doesn't, and for some reason that reticence is still there, and that continues to this day, I'm afraid.
Do you think, for example, it might be a good idea to have somebody who has served in the armed forces as Defence Minister?
Well, I mean, you have got that. You've got Tobias Ellwood, who is the Veterans Minister. You've got Mark Lancaster, who's in the reserves as Minister for the Armed Forces. I mean, it does. Obviously, I think it helps to understand that department. I don't think it's sort of mandatory to have served to be in that department. I think it's more, these things come from the top down, really, and the whole thing, it's a sort of culture thing. In parts, it's a leadership thing about where veterans stand in our society, and of course we can all say good things, we can all stand at the cenotaph and so on, but actually it's how it feels for our veterans in this country, and we have some way to go.
As we're approaching Armistice Day, what does that mean to you and to veterans?
Well, I mean, for me, it's always quite a poignant day. I think about clearly those who have been less fortunate than myself and friends we've sort of lost over the last sort of 10 or 15 years, but also, the sort of supreme sacrifice of our forefathers, who many of us sort of tried to emulate when we were fighting in these battles of the last 10 or 15 years. It's a day for everyone just to remember, really, and to remember what these guys gave up. We enjoy an amazing quality of life despite our problems in this country, and obviously in the States at the moment. The reality is we enjoy an extraordinary quality of life, and we would not have that today had people not fought and died for it. And I think it's often sometimes overlooked and worth remembering sometimes.
Absolutely. Johnny Mercer, really good to get your thoughts. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.